Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to the Finance 360-degree sessions in which we cover the relevant and important finance current affairs and the RBI notifications, the RBI press releases which are very important from the examination perspective. So today I have brought for you a very important scheme of the Reserve Bank of India. So as discussed, we will be discussing some important schemes of the RBI. So today we are going to discuss a very important scheme of RBI, that is the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme 2021. So this is very important scheme that we are going to discuss in today's session. It is important from your descriptive point of view as well as from your objective point of view from the regulatory body examination. Okay. So give me a thumbs up if I am clearly audible and visible, and I hope that you are able to see me clearly. And good morning everyone. Good morning Guru Raj and Manish. So let's start with today's session. So today we are going to discuss this scheme that is very important. Okay. So before starting with the session, do subscribe to the YouTube channel of EduTap and do join the Telegram channel. In the Telegram channel of EduTap, you will get the PDF of the session and the link for the Telegram channel is provided in the description box below. Okay. So let's start with the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme 2022. First of all, in a previous session, we have discussed about the internal ombudsman. Okay, so see, the banks, NBFCs, they are regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. So there are different intermediaries or there are different regulated entities that are regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. Now let's say the customers, they have some complaint against the bank or they have some complaint against the NBFC. So the customers will raise their complaints with the banks or the NBFCs. But let's say that the banks or the NBFCs, they are not resolving the complaints of the customers within 30 days. Or the customer is not happy with the reply of the complaint. And so if the banks are not replying or the NBFCs, if they are not replying within 30 days or if they are not replying satisfactorily within 30 days, then the customer can go to the Reserve Bank of India Integrated Ombudsman. That is, the Reserve Bank has integrated ombudsman. So this integrated ombudsman takes care of the complaints of the customers if they are not resolved by the banks or the NBFC. So this is the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. This is also known as the alternate grievance redressal. The customers, if they want to get their grievances addressed, they can go to the banks or NBFCs or the regulated entities. But if the banks or NBFCs are not catering to the complaints satisfactorily within 30 days, so they can go, the customers can go to the alternative grievance redressal. That is, they can go to the integrated ombudsman of the Reserve Bank of India. Okay. So here, the objective of the scheme, the objective of the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme is to reduce the customer grievances involving deficiency in service. So if banks, NBFCs or the regulated entities are providing deficiency in services or they are not providing the proper services that they should be providing, so the customers can go to the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. So the objective of the scheme is to resolve the customer grievances, the customer complaints involving deficiency in service as part of the regulated entities in a speedy, cost-effective and satisfactory manner. So the customers are resolved by the integrated ombudsman in a speedy, cost-effective and satisfactory manner. So Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme of 2021 provides for cost-free redressal of customer complaints for the customers if not resolved. If the complaints are not resolved by the regulated entities within 30 days or if the customers are resolved but in an unsatisfactory manner by the regulated entity. So either the regulated entity has not resolved the complaint within 30 days or has not resolved the complaint in a satisfactory manner, then the customers can go to the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme where the integrated ombudsman of the RBI will take care of the complaints. Okay, so this is the brief idea of the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. So now, see, the Reserve Bank of India, before the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, there were different schemes of catering to the complaints of customers by the Reserve Bank of India through the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, so the Reserve Bank of India integrated its three erstwhile ombudsman schemes. So there were three schemes. That was the Banking Ombudsman Scheme, there was the Ombudsman Scheme for the NBFCs, and there were Ombudsman scheme for the digital transactions. Okay, like you are doing the digital transactions using the phone pay, Google Pay, or the different applications you are using, Amazon Pay you are using, or Flipkart you are using. So you are using the different services, okay, the digital transactions you are doing. Now if there are any problems with the digital transactions, so there was the Ombudsman scheme for digital transactions, okay, where you can raise the complaints against the prepaid instruments, or you can raise the complaints against the payment providers. So this is the idea, that there was banking ombudsman scheme that was launched in 1995, but this was updated in 2006. Okay, so this is the idea, that the Reserve Bank had the banking ombudsman scheme 2006, the Ombudsman scheme for non-banking financial companies 2018, and the Ombudsman scheme for digital transactions 2019. Now there were different Ombudsman schemes that were having different jurisdiction and the different rules and regulations. So RBI thought that rather than having so many of the different schemes, the RBI integrated all these schemes under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. So now we only have one scheme that takes care of the complaints of the customers of all the regulated entities. Okay, so all these schemes were merged into one scheme, that was the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme 2021. So this came into effect from November 12, 2021. Okay, so this is the idea. Now the scheme simplifies the grievance redressal process at the RBI. So rather than going to different ombudsman schemes, there is one ombudsman scheme, that is the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, through which the customers can get their grievances addressed. Okay, so there is the simplification of grievance redressal process at RBI by enabling the customers of regulated entities, let it be the customers of banks, let it be the customers of NBFCs, let it be the customer of credit information companies, or the payment system participants. If you have any problem or any complaint against any of these regulated entities, you can raise your complaint with them first. If they are not catering to your complaint within 30 days, the Reserve Bank of India Integrated Ombudsman Scheme will cater to the complaint. So that is the basic idea. Okay, so there is a centralized reference point under the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. So in addition to integrating the three existing schemes, the scheme also includes under its ambit the non-scheduled primary urban cooperative banks. So even the non-scheduled, that is, non-scheduled means that are not under the Schedule 2 of the RBI. So the non-scheduled primary urban cooperative banks with a deposit size of 50 crores and above, and the credit information companies were also brought under the ambit of Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. So before, the banks, NBFCs and the payment system participants, they were under the ambit of the Ombudsman Scheme, but now under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, even the credit information companies and even the non-scheduled primary urban cooperative banks having a deposit size of more than 50 crores, they also are brought under the ambit of the Ombudsman Scheme, under the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. Any confusion anyone has till now? Is it clear? It's clear? So now, I hope this is clear till now. So the AGR, that is the alternative grievance redressal, the alternate grievance redressal mechanism, the framework of the Reserve Bank of India. It comprises of RBI Ombudsman. So RBI Ombudsman are there that cater to the complaints of the customers, as well as Consumer Education and Protection cells are also present, and the CEPD, that is the Consumer Education and Protection Department, is also there. So the alternative grievance redressal framework of the RBI consists of the RBI Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, that is the RBI Ombudsman are present, as well as CEPC, that is the Consumer Education and Protection cells, and CEPD department is also there. So the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman, they function under the framework of RBI Integrated Ombudsman Scheme 2021. The Consumer Education and Protection cells, they take up the complaints against the regulated entities that are not falling under the ambit of Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. Because the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, it only caters to such complaints that are related to deficiency in service. Let's say that a complaint is not regarding deficiency in service, but it is regarding a particular bank, a particular component of the bank. So that complaint can go to the CPC. Okay, so any complaint that is not falling under the ambit of integrated ombudsman scheme will go to the Consumer Education and Protection Cell. The CPD, that is Consumer Education and Protection Department, it provides assistance to the appellate authority under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. So under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, there is an appellate authority where the appeals can be made. So the CPD department or the Consumer Education and Protection Department, it provides assistance to the appellate authority under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme and process the appeal cases if there are any appeals against the decisions and such. So these are the components of the alternative grievance redressal, and the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme is a part of the alternative grievance redressal mechanism. Okay. So this is the idea. Now centralized receipt and processing center. So when there was the launch of the integrated ombudsman scheme, there was the launch of the CRPC also. So what is CRPC, or how the complaints can be raised against the banks or against the NBFCs? So what is the process of raising the complaint? So complaints can be lodged. So complainants, that is the customers, they can lodge their complaints against an regulated entity on a 24/7 online complaint management system portal. Okay, so in the Reserve Bank of India website, there is also the complaint management system where you can file a complaint, you can track your complaint or file an appeal, and you can also provide some feedback. Okay, so this is the CMS portal of the Reserve Bank of India through which the complaints can be raised by the customers, and this is the portal, this is the online portal, so it is opened for 24/7, that is all the days and all the time. Okay, so this is the link for the CMS portal, or send their complaints, or the customers can even send their complaints in the email form or in the physical form to the CRPC. Let's say someone is not very comfortable with raising the complaints in the online portal, so they can even send the complaints in the physical form to the CRPC, that is the Centralized Receipt and Processing Center, that was launched with the launch of the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. So CRPC, it is established in Chandigarh. So the CRPC has been set up at the RBI Chandigarh for receiving complaints through physical mode, through the email form or through the physical letter or post. Okay. The CRPC undertakes initial scrutiny. So CRPC is the center. All the complaints that are raised through the CMS portal, or all the complaints raised through the email or physical form. So all these complaints, they are first scrutinized. The initial scrutiny is done by the CRPC. So CRPC undertakes the initial scrutiny and processing of these complaints and then upload them on the CMS. So either the complaints are directly going to the CMS, or the complaints, they are going to the CRPC, which is initially scrutinized, and then it is sent to the CMS portal, and from the CMS portal then the complaints are distributed among the Reserve Bank of India ombudsmans. Okay, ombudsmans are some senior officials of the RBI. Okay, so the complaints are raised through CMS or through the CRPC. The initial scrutiny is done by the CRPC, and then the complaints are lodged in the CMS portal. If the complaints are coming to the CRPC, then the complaints are lodged in the CMS portal, and then from CMS it is distributed among the RBI ombudsman. Okay, so which are then assigned to offices of RBI ombudsman or CPCs, that is Consumer Education and Protection Cells, for the redressal. So this is the basic idea. Non-scheduled banks are the banks that are not in the second schedule of the RBI. Okay, so there are the banks that are in the second schedule of RBI, such as State Bank of India and PNB and such. So these are the banks, or there are the non-scheduled banks that are not in the second schedule of the RBI. Okay, now this is the CRPC. So there was the launch that was done of the Consumer Education and Protection Cell. So this is the idea that the CRPC was launched by the governor of RBI and such. Okay, now the regulated entities that are covered under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. So all the commercial banks, including the public sector banks, private sector banks, local area banks, foreign banks that are in India, or the small finance banks, payment banks, regional rural banks, scheduled primary urban cooperative banks, and the non-scheduled primary urban cooperative bank with deposit size of 50 crore and above, they are covered under the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. Okay, so all these entities are covered under the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme as well as non-scheduled primary urban cooperative bank if they have the deposit size of more than 50 crores or 50 crores and more than 50 crores. So they are also covered under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme as on the date of audited balance sheet of the previous financial year. Okay, so this is the idea. As well as the NBFCs, the non-banking financial companies, all the NBFCs excluding housing finance companies. So for the housing finance companies, the complaints cannot be raised under the integrated ombudsman scheme. Okay, so all the non-banking financial companies excluding housing finance company which are authorized to accept deposit. So all the NBFCs which are authorized to accept the deposits, so the customers can raise complaint against such NBFCs in the integrated ombudsman scheme, as well as, or we can say, all the NBFCs that have customer interface, that are connected with customer in any way possible with an asset size of 100 crores and above as on the date of the audited balance sheet. So these kind of NBFCs that are taking the deposit from the public, or the NBFCs that have customer interface and have the asset size of more than 100 crores, these kind of NBFCs, they come under the ambit of the integrated ombudsman scheme. Okay, core investment companies, infrastructure debt fund, non-banking financial companies, infrastructure finance companies, the companies in resolution or winding up, that is the companies that are going under the liquidation process, or any other NBFC that is not specified, or any other NBFC that is specified by RBI to be excluded from the integrated ombudsman scheme, they do not come under the purview of the Reserve Bank integrated ombudsman scheme. So core investment companies, infrastructure debt companies, there are the infrastructure finance companies, such kind of companies, they do not come under the Reserve Bank integrated ombudsman scheme. So this is the separate note that is given by RBI, that these entities will not be included under the integrated ombudsman scheme. Okay, so this is the idea. What do you want me to explain again? NBFCs, okay. So NBFCs basically, the NBFCs, all the NBFCs that are taking the deposit from the public, they will come under the Reserve Bank integrated ombudsman scheme. Okay, or the NBFCs that are having the customer interface, that are connected with customers, like peer-to-peer lending, where the customers are taking the money through the peer-to-peer lending platform, or they are lending the money through the peer-to-peer lending platform. So any NBFC that is having a customer interface that is connected with the customer and have equal to or more than 100 crores of the asset size, these NBFCs will come under the ambit of the Reserve Bank integrated ombudsman scheme. But the NBFCs such as the housing finance companies, such as the core investment companies, or the companies such as the infrastructure debt funds or the infrastructure finance companies, these companies are excluded from the ambit of the Reserve Bank integrated ombudsman scheme. Or any NBFC that is the failed NBFC that is going under the liquidation process, that means it is the NBFC that is being closed down. So this NBFC will also not come under the Reserve Bank integrated ombudsman scheme. Okay, so NBFCs that are authorized to accept deposits and have customer interface with an asset size of 100 crores. So these NBFCs are the NBFCs that are under the ambit of the RBI integrated ombudsman scheme. Is it clear? I hope this is clear. Now system participants. So all the payment system participants that are providing you the prepaid payment instruments, or that are providing you the Bharat bill payment services like your Google Pay, Phone Pay and such, all the payment system participants, the banks as well as non-banks regulated by the RBI, they will also come under the Reserve Bank integrated ombudsman scheme, because through these applications you are making the payments or transactions. Okay. Last is credit information companies. So all the CICs, credit information companies, will also come under the Reserve Bank integrated ombudsman scheme. Now any confusion anyone has? Okay Sangeeta, nice. But about the others, is it clear? Reserve Bank integrated ombudsman scheme, these are the entities which are included under the RBI integrated ombudsman scheme. There is a special note that is provided that these entities are not under the ambit of the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, even the housing finance companies are also excluded. Okay, so this is the idea. Now moving forward, coming to the contact center. So we have discussed about the CRPC that can take the email and the physical form of complaints, and the CRPC, it does the initial scrutiny and sends the scrutinized initial, after the initial scrutiny, the complaints are sent to the CMS, to the complaint management system, and from there is the spread of the complaints that happens to the different ombudsmans. Okay, then we have discussed about the regulated entities under the system also, regulated entities that are under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. Okay, so CRPC is nothing else. CRPC is the center that is established in Chandigarh to receive the complaints in the physical form or in the email form. So CRPC does the initial scrutiny of the complaints that it has received, or the additional complaints it can scrutinize. If there is the requirement from the CMS also, additional complaints can be scrutinized from the CRPC, but CRPC does the initial scrutiny of the complaints that it has received in the physical or email form. After the initial scrutiny of the complaints that it has received, it goes to the CMS portal, and from the CMS portal all the complaints are then spread out to the different ombudsmans, to the different senior officials of the RBI, that are the integrated ombudsmans, okay, of the RBI, or the RBI ombudsman. Okay, so CRPC receives the complaints in physical or email form and does the initial scrutiny of the complaints and then sends it to the CMS. From the CMS, then the complaints are sent to the integrated ombudsman. I hope this is clear. So we have discussed about the CRPC. Now coming to the contact center. Okay, contact centers were also introduced with the introduction of the integrated ombudsman scheme in November 2021. So contact centers, they are the customer service providers, we can say, where if you want to resolve your queries, you can raise your query in the contact center. So contact center of RBI is a platform where a complainant or the customer can reach out to RBI to get information related to the alternate grievance redressal mechanism. So if you have any confusion regarding the alternate grievance redressal mechanism, you can get your complaints resolved through this mechanism. Okay, procedure of so in regards to alternate grievance redressal mechanism, any complaint is catered to through the contact center, or if you have complaint regarding the procedure or you want help in filing the complaints, and if you want to see the status of the complaint lodged with the RBI, so all these problems or all these queries can be catered to by the contact center. Okay, so this is the idea. Next is the contact center with interactive voice response system with toll-free number is available 24/7. Okay, so there is the contact center that is having the interactive voice response system. Like if you call the contact free number, or if you call this toll-free number, so there will be a voice that you will hear, the technical voice or the AI voice that you will hear, and they cater to your query. But if you want to talk to a person, then the facility to connect with the contact center personnel is also available from 8 AM to 10 PM weekdays except the national holidays for English and Hindi. So you can connect with the personnel in English, Hindi or 10 other regional languages, that is Assamese, Bengali and these 10 regional languages. Okay, so contact center provides you the information regarding the alternate grievance redressal. It takes your queries regarding the procedure and how to file the complaints, and the contact center, if you are calling them, they will be first there will be an interactive voice response system, that will be a AI talking to you or a system talking to you. After that, if you want to talk to the person, you can talk to the person in English, Hindi or other 10 regional languages in the given time. Okay, complaints cannot be filed through the contact center. You can only raise your queries with the contact center. So contact center is only to ask for your queries. Next is, there is no limit on the amount of disputed transaction for which the complaint or grievance can be raised. Let's say you have 1 crore rupees in your bank account and the bank is not providing you the service to make a FD from your deposits. Okay, so bank is not allowing you to do so. So you can raise your complaint that the bank is not allowing me to take out my 1 crore rupees, or the bank is not allowing me to convert this 1 crore rupees to such and such. So it doesn't matter that how much of the amount is involved. If there is any dispute that can be raised, or the complaint can be raised in the integrated ombudsman scheme, under the integrated ombudsman scheme. Okay, so there is no limit on the amount of disputed transaction for which the complaint or grievance can be raised under the Reserve Bank integrated ombudsman scheme, on which the RBI ombudsman can provide resolution. Now, however, only those complaints where the compensation, now you want compensation. Let's say that you had taken a loan and you have repaid the loan, but still there are some amount that is deducted from your account. Now you want compensation for the problem that has been created due to this effect. So if you want to, like, only those complaints where the compensation sought, if any, for any loss of suffered by the complainant arising directly out of the act or omission or commission of the regulated entity is rupees 20 lakh or lower. That is, if you want the compensation of 20 lakh or lower, if there is any direct problem that has been created, or if there is direct deduction of money that has happened, you have lost the money, so you want compensation to the amount up to 20 lakh or lower, then you can raise the complaints through the integrated ombudsman scheme, okay, for the direct losses that you have suffered. So in the first case, there is no limit on amount of the disputed transaction. You can raise your complaint without any limit on the amount. This is not about compensation, this is about the queries or the complaints that you can raise. You can raise the complaint of any limit. If the complaint is regarding the deficiency of service, if the complaint is regarding the bank not giving you the money back, okay, here you are not asking for compensation. Here you are only raising the complaint that is related to your accounts or your money. Now in the second case, you are raising the request for the compensation. So compensation that you are asking, the money that you are asking from the bank in case of the problem that the bank has created, so that compensation, if it is lower than, if it is equal to 20 lakh or lower, then only the bank can, then only the integrated ombudsman scheme can cover this problem. Okay, the complaint, if you are raising the complaint against the loss that you have suffered because of the bank and you want the compensation, if the compensation is 20 lakhs or lower, then only the complaint can be taken by the integrated ombudsman scheme. Now let's say that that integrated ombudsman or the Reserve Bank of India ombudsman thinks that, okay, you have not suffered any loss, but because of the problem that the bank has created in not providing you the service. Let's say you have the deposit, or you want to open a particular scheme with the bank, but the bank didn't allow you. So you have suffered some mental trauma, or you have suffered some physical problem, or there are some expenses that you have incurred in raising the complaint with the RBI ombudsman. So the ombudsman may award a compensation not exceeding 1 lakh rupees in case that the complainant or the customer has faced the loss in the time, expenses incurred, harassment and mental anguish. So in this case, the award of the compensation can be up to 1 lakh rupees. Okay, so the first case is that if you want to raise the complaint against the regulated entity and the disputed transaction, there is no limit on that. But if you want compensation on the loss that you have suffered because of the bank, the loss is the monetary loss that you have suffered in regards to the bank or regulated entity. If you have suffered any monetary loss, so the compensation can be 20 lakhs or less than that if you want to raise the complaint with the integrated ombudsman scheme. But if you want compensation, if the ombudsman thinks that there is the compensation that has to be given because you have lost the mental peace or you have lost some time or expenses, so in this case the compensation may not exceed 1 lakh rupees. Any confusion in this? Appellate authority is, let's say the decision has been taken by the RBI ombudsman. Reserve Bank of India ombudsman has taken a decision, and against this decision an appeal has to be made. If the appeal has to be made against the decision, so that appeal can be made to the appellate authority. Okay, so it is appellate authority is to raise the appeals. Any confusion anyone has in this? Any confusion anyone has? Just give me a thumbs up if everything is clear, then we will discuss the questions, okay? So we have discussed about the regulated entities covered under the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. We have discussed about the CRPC that is in Chandigarh that receives the complaints in physical or email form. CRPC undertakes the initial scrutiny and processing of the complaints also and uploads them on the CMS portal from where the complaints are distributed, okay? We have discussed about CRPC, we have discussed about Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, the regulated entities covered under the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. We have also discussed about the contact center and we have also discussed about the compensation, okay? No confusion? What if the compensation is above 20 lakhs? Then any problem, this we have discussed now, that any problem that is not catered by the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, where it will go, you have to tell me. Lakshmi, try to think that if the problem is not catered by the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, so there is a separate cell. Which cell is that? That caters to the problem then, that caters to the complaint then. It is the CEPC, that is the Customer Education and Protection Cell. So if the monetary loss that you have suffered is more than 20 lakh rupees and you want the compensation of more than 20 lakh rupees, then you can go to CEPC. So any complaint that does not come under the ambit of the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme will go to the CEPC. I hope it is clear. But a good question, a very good question. Many of you might have this problem later on. Okay, so this is the first question. This is a homework question. I hope you all will be able to answer this question. Objective questions can come from the Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, as well as the descriptive question can also come. So be aware about this scheme, one of the most important schemes, okay? So this is the first homework question. Do try to answer this question. And before moving to the second question, let me show you that if you go to the edutap.in, if you go to edutap.in, you can go to the EduTap's website where you can get free material, where you can read about the examination and you can get more information about the exam, the strategy that you need to follow for the exam and such, okay? So if you go to the end of the page, you will get the exam information for different categories, for different examination. You can get the exam information, you can get the strategy for the different components of the exam. You can also get the success stories, that how the toppers achieved their dream, what strategies the toppers adopted, okay? So all of this you can read, okay? As well as in the page, you can also see the courses that are provided by EduTap, that what all courses you are getting and at what price you are getting the course, who all will be teaching, what all will be provided to you. So all of that is written here, all of that is shown here. So before buying the courses, you can check out that what you will be getting. So that is beneficial for you to understand that what you are getting in the courses and who will be teaching, okay? So this is the first question and this is the let's go to second question. So this is the second question that you have to answer. A direct question can also come and a statement based question also can also come. Tushar, the descriptive question, then try to write the descriptive question. You can write that so take it as a descriptive question, that what is the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme. You have to comment on the scheme as well as how it is helpful for the customers of regulated entities. So this is a descriptive question that you can write, okay? So this is a 15. Why 12 regional languages? There are only. So do give the right answer of this question, okay? And you can also try the descriptive question, that you have to write about the Reserve Bank Integrated Ombudsman Scheme and try to write about how it is helpful for the customers of the regulated entities, okay? So this is it for today. Thank you very much for joining the session, and do give me the right answer of the homework questions and do write the descriptive question also. I will not be able to check it the descriptive answers I am not able to check, but you can use the different AI tools to write the answer or to help you understand the requirement of the question. Okay, so do give the right answer of the 2 homework questions and do write the descriptive answer using the PPT, using the material that has been provided. Okay, so this is it for today. Thank you very much for joining the session. Yes, Pallu, the courses are available. You can see it in the website. You can see it in the website that I have shown you, EduTap.in. In that website, you can check. Okay, you're most welcome, everyone. Thank you.